In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a dashboard for monitoring industrial machines using MQTT, TimescaleDB, and Node-RED. By the end of this video, you'll be able to build a dashboard for visualization and monitoring of machine availability, performance, quality, and overall equipment effectiveness. And you also learn how to visualize the losses and downtime events. My name is Mandi Teresa with Industry4.TV, and I regularly publish industrial Internet of Things tutorials on this channel. So if you're new here, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Okay, so let's begin by looking at the architecture and data flow diagram of our demo. So I have a data generator, which is an MQTT client that is simulating industrial machine data and publishing it to an MQTT broker. And this data includes machine downtime events, machine production cycles, and defects on products produced by the machine. And then on my Node-RED instance, I have a flow that is subscribing to the 3 MQTT topics and writing the data to 3 corresponding tables in the TimescaleDB database. And then I have another flow for pulling the data out of the database tables to perform calculations of machine performance metrics that include availability, quality, performance, OEE, and the associated OEE losses. Okay, so now let's move on to look at how I have my database tables created. So I've already installed my TimescaleDB database. So I've got it running on Docker, but you can install it using different kinds of installations. So here I'm on dbeaver, which is a client application that allows me to connect to my TimescaleDB database. So let's look at the scripts that I've used to create my database tables. So first of all, I've got this script for creating my table for holding machine downtime data. And then here I've got another table called production cycles. So this is the table for storing all machine production cycles. And then lastly, I've got another database table called production defects. So again, this is also a table for storing all defects on products that are produced by a specific machine. Okay, so I've got all these tables already created, so I'm not going to execute on this script. Okay, now the next thing that I want us to do is to go ahead and start up the MQTT broker. So for my MQTT broker, I'm using a local instance of HiveMQ MQTT broker. So I'll go ahead and start my MQTT broker. Okay, so my MQTT broker is running, and as you can see, it is listening on port 1883. So the next thing that I want to do is to start my data generator so that we can start publishing messages to this MQTT broker. So I've got a .NET Core console application that is acting as my data generator. So I'll go ahead and start it. Okay, so we're successfully connected on localhost at port 1883. Now, the next thing that I want to do is that we want to be able to monitor all the traffic that is going through the broker to see what data is available to subscribe to. So for that, I'm going to use an MQTT client called MQTT Explorer that allows me to connect to my HiveMQ broker to be able to view all of the MQTT messages that are currently being published to it. Okay, so when I connect here, you can see there is my MQTT namespace. So let's explore that. So as you can see, I'm publishing data under the MQTT topic, Global Industries, Munich, Production Areas, Press Shop Area, Pressing, Press Line 1. And then under Press Station, I want to see data under Press Station 1. So there's many data points that I'm currently publishing here. But for this demo, we're going to focus on data objects that are being published on 3 topics. So the first one is downtime data. This is where I'm publishing all my downtime events. So as you can see, here is the JSON object that is being published on this specific MQTT topic. The next one is cycle data. So again, as you can see, I've got a JSON object containing all cycle data that is being published on this topic. And then lastly, I've got defect data, where I'm publishing all the defect data from the machine. So this is all simulated data that we then want to be able to consume using Node-RED, store into Timescale database, and then pull that data out to generate dashboards or analytics. Okay, now let's go into the Node-RED to see how I'm doing that. Okay, so now I'm on the Node-RED instance that is also running locally. So let's begin by looking at this flow for subscribing to MQTT data and storing that data into the database. So first of all, here you see that I'm subscribing to machine cycle data. So if I open this up, you'll notice that I'm subscribing to this MQTT topic where I'm publishing all the cycle data. And then I'm passing that information on to a node for storing the data into a timescale database. But first of all, you need to have installed this PostgreSQL Node-RED package. So I'll go to Manage Palette. So this is the PostgreSQL package. So you need to install that. So I'll open this up. Now, first of all, you see here that I've configured my TimescaleDB connection. So you can see I'm connected to my localhost at this specific port number, and the database that I'm connecting to is BluntDB. And then obviously I'm passing my security credentials. And then now let's take a look at the query. So basically this is an insert statement. I'm inserting into production cycles table. And then these are the specific columns that I'm inserting the data to. And then these are the values. So I'm simply extracting these values from my payload. So you notice here that I've got message.payload.event timestamp. So I'm storing this event timestamp on this specific column. So I'm doing it for all these data points that I want to extract from my MQTT payload and then storing it into this production cycles table. Okay, moving on. I'm also subscribing to machine downtime data from the MQTT broker. As you can see here, I've got an MQTT topic for subscribing to the data that is being published under this downtime data topic. And then again, I'm passing that data onto a PostgreSQL node. And then if I open this up, again, I've got a query here, an insert query. So this time I'm inserting into machine downtimes table. And these are the columns that I'm inserting. And then again, I'm extracting the data from the payload as the values of that specific SQL query. And then lastly, I'm subscribing to defect data topic to get all of these defect data that are being published to this specific topic. And then I'm publishing, or rather I'm passing this information on to this node where I'm executing a query to insert this data into a production defects table. So as you can see, we've got all of this data that is being extracted from the payload and inserted into the table. So maybe we can quickly jump back to my dbeaver to see all of this information going through into the database. Okay, these are the machine downtime events that are being inserted into this database using Node-RED. And then here we've got production cycles that are being inserted into this database table. Okay, so I'll jump back to my Node-RED. Okay, now that we're successfully inserting MQTT data into TimescaleDB using Node-RED, the next thing that we want to do is to be able to pull this data and then calculate machine performance metrics that include availability, quality, performance, and OEE. So for that, I've got a separate flow. So we're going to focus on this section here. So here I've got a trigger that is a 10-second trigger that initiates this flow. Okay, so first of all, I've got a PostgreSQL node here that I'm using to execute a query for calculating the data that I need to be able to get availability of this specific machine. So as you can see here, of interest here is the total downtime in minutes. So basically, from that database table, I'm going into the downtime start column and the downtime end column, and then I'm calculating what the total downtime is for each specific entry, and then summing up all of that for the past hour. So you notice here that I'm calculating this specific availability metric for the past hour. So you could be calculating that for the past shift, the past day, the past week, and so on and so forth. And then I'm doing the same thing here by executing a query to get data that I need to be able to calculate my performance metric. And of interest here is the total number of units that have been produced in the past hour. And then again, I'm doing the same for my quality. So here you'll notice that I'm actually interested in finding out what was the total defect quantity in the past hour. And then next, first of all, I'm storing this machine total downtime in the flow because I'm going to need to use it for calculations in another part of this flow. And then here I'm actually calculating the availability from the total of 60 minutes, how much was the downtime, and how does that translate into the availability based on the equation for calculating availability for OEE. Now I'm publishing this data back into the MQTT broker, and I'm also storing the result of that calculation as the machine 1 availability, again, which I'm going to use in another section of this flow to be able to calculate OEE. And then I'm doing the same thing for performance. I'm storing these total units, and then I'm calculating machine 1 performance based on the equation for OEE for calculating performance. I'm storing the result of that performance calculation, and then I'm publishing the results back into the MQTT broker. So as you can see, this is the part of the MQTT namespace where I'm publishing that information to. And then I'm doing the same for quality. Okay, so now that has been completed, I've also got another trigger here for calculating the OEE. So basically, we're taking the result of availability, performance, and quality and using it to be able to calculate OEE. So basically, I'm retrieving all these stored values, and then I'm performing the calculation of OEE using the availability, performance, and quality. So for you to be able to display this data in a dashboard, you first need to install your Node-RED dashboard package. And for that, I'm using the Node-RED dashboard 2.0 from FlowFuse. So you can see here, I have it installed. And then I'm displaying this OEE. For my OEE, you can see that I've got a half gauge that I'm using. I've got a range from 0 to 100. And then I've got my segments here, 0, 40 to 70. So if I know if it's above, if 70 and above, then it's a good OEE. And then next, the other thing that I'm doing is to calculate the losses, the OEE losses. To say from our OEE, suppose we've got an OEE of 75%, which means we actually are short of 25% to get 100% OEE. So for that 25%, how much of it is being contributed by availability? How much of it is being contributed by performance and quality? So what are the losses? So basically, this is the equation. So I'm actually, I'm storing the OEE calculation here after it has been calculated there. And then I'm using that OEE value to be able to calculate the losses. And then once I've got the loss due to availability, loss due to performance, and loss due to quality, I'm then packaging this into an array and then passing it on to this visualization. You'll notice here that this is a donut chart. And then here you notice that these are the properties that I've set here, machine, and then the key is metric, and then the Y key is percentage. So if I open this up again, you notice here that I've got the metric and percentage. So these are the keys that I'm using to be able to display this donut chart. Again, we're going to be able to look at it shortly. And then here, this is a note for just quickly clearing my chart. And then next, because I want to be able to visualize availability, performance, and quality, and also OEE in a kind of like a line chart. So basically, I'm taking these OEE calculations, availability, performance, and quality, and then I'm really packaging this into an array, and then passing this onto a chart node. So as you can see here, we've got a line chart, and I'm passing on the metric and percentage as the key. And then next, I want to show availability, quality, and performance in a bar chart. So again, I'm retrieving all of these stored variables, and then I'm packaging them into an array, and then I'm passing this information on to a node for displaying a bar chart. So you can see here I've got a type bar chart, and I've got the keys, series, metric, and percentage. And here I've got a node for clearing my chart. And then finally, I want to create a table for showing all the downtime events to be able to identify them on the dashboard. So here I've got a PostgreSQL node where I'm executing a query here to get all of this information. And then I'm packaging this into an array that can be consumed by my dashboard node for visualizing tabular data. So you notice here, I'm going to be visualizing the machine name, downtime start, downtime end, total duration, the reason code, and what the category is. And I'm displaying all of this information, and then I'm passing all of this information into this specific node for displaying the downtime events. So if I open this up, so you notice here, these are the columns. So here I've got the value, and then again, I've got a label, and then this is of type text. So here you could have many different types. Okay, so now let's move on to see what the result of that is. And to be able to visualize Node-RED Dashboard 2.0, you go to localhost port 1880/dashboard. Okay, so obviously this is a simulation and it may not look realistic. So first of all, you notice here that we've got this gauge here, and then we've got our bar chart, and then we've got our donut chart for your OEE losses, and you've got this line chart, that trends your OEE availability and performance and quality, and you've got your table for the downtime events. And to be able to actually, lay out all of this information here, you're able to actually access your dashboard interface here. So as you can see, I've got dashboard 2.0. If I go in here, you see I've got this page, which is the current page. I've got many pages. If I go back here, you see these are the pages that I've created. But what I'm going to focus on here is the pressing area page here. And if I go back here, I open up the pressing area page under my dashboard 2.0 interface. You can see that there's different groups that I've used to actually lay out this data. So here I've got the current status group, which really just consists of the shift details. So this is the area up here. And then I've got the machine OEE, which is basically the gauge that is being created by this node here. I've got it here. And then I'm also getting this information from MQTT to display what is the actual, current state of this machine, so we can see that it is running. And another interesting thing here to note here, so you can see this background is green to reflect the the running status. So that's also part of what I did here. So as you can see here, I'm getting the first of all, I'm setting the page style here, right? So I'm setting the page style. So we've got the background color, which is glass red, glass green, and glass white. So red if the machine is not running, right? And then here I'm subscribing to this specific part of the MQTT topic, which contains the machine state, so whether it's running, stopped, and so on and so forth. And then I'm passing this information here to check if the state is running. We send this output here, which this output specifies that the class needs to be green. If the machine is stopped, here this class needs to be red. And then if the machine is inactive, it's white. And then here we pass that information on to this specific group, which is machine OEE. So this is the group that has got that background that is detected by the current state of the machine. So that's the group right there. Okay, and then here I've got OEE metrics, which is basically this bar chart right here. So these are OEE metrics, which is the bar chart that gives us the current value for our OEE. And then I've got another group here, which is the OEE losses. So this is the donut chart rather. This is the donut chart, and that's the donut chart that we see here. And then I've also got a group for trending, which is this chart right here, which is this chart here for trending, which is a line chart. And we see that is here. And then finally, we've got a group for our downtime event, which is actually a table. So this table right here, and we've got all of this information there. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this video. So as you can see, this is really basic information to kind of like give you an idea how to use MQTT, TimescaleDB, and Node-RED to be able to build dashboards for monitoring your industrial machine performance. Thanks for watching.